All right. Good morning. Yeah. So we're back with another 10 horror Blu-rays I want you to own. If you're a patron, you should be seeing this relatively in the morning, but if you're not, you're watching this sometime in the evening today. Yeah, we're back. I told you guys I was coming back with this series. I know that this is a series that people really, really loved. I did it for a few years, and then I felt like I needed to take a break because of the transitional period we were in, but the demand was always there, and they were like, yeah, just do it, though. So, yeah, so here we go. Again, I'm bumping it up from 5 to 10, so that's how I was going to differentiate the reboot, so that way it's a little bit more exciting and a little bit more titles you can sink your teeth into. So let's get started. How about the first title we're going to give it up to is the new documentary Pennywise, the story of it. And if you haven't seen this, I've watched a number of horror documentaries, a number of them, and I gotta say that Pennywise, the story of it, is among the best that I've seen. It's extremely in-depth. It goes into a lot of details that I had never heard about before. Tim Curry's in this, Tommy Lee Wallace in this, a lot of the cast is in this. And they really talk about the film. They talk about the process of making the prosthetics. They talk about the spider at the end and how Tommy Lee Wallace really feels about said spider at the end. But it also is going to make you appreciate that spider at the end of the film a lot more. I know that the spider is something that a lot of people are just like, oh, that's where it loses me. But you got to check this out. It'll really make you appreciate the film on a deeper level. And it just goes to show you why Tim Curry, I mean, no disrespect to Bill Skarsgård, I love him, but this goes to show why Tim Curry really is one of the greatest performers ever with his Pennywise. He went up to Tommy Lee Wallace when Tommy was trying to figure out what design he wanted to go with for the clown, and he wanted to add like a big chin and all this kind of stuff. Tim Curry walks up to Tommy Lee Wallace and said, if you want to put all this prosthetic makeup on me to be scary, you've got the wrong guy. And Tommy was like, huh? He goes, I'm an actor. You want a scary clown? I'm going to give you a scary clown. And Tim Curry gave one of the greatest performances ever in horror movie history. You're going to love this documentary. Go on Amazon. I'll have affiliate links for everything on here if you want that. Again, if I use an affiliate link, it doesn't cost you anything extra. I just get a tiny, tiny portion of the sale, like 10 cents, but it goes into the credit. But yes, this is amazing, guys. Pennywise, the story of it, comes with the slipcover. It's even got different art on the front. Feature length for sure. It's one of the most amazing documentaries ever. Huge proponent of that. Okay, so this is technically a 4K, but it comes with the Blu-ray, so that's why I had to put this in here. Really quick, somebody actually said, why don't you just do a 4K I want you to own? I'm going to, but the thing is, I want to make sure when I do a 4K I want you to own, you have to have the 4K player for it, meaning it's a release that either just comes with the 4K, the Blu-ray isn't upscaled, like on the Scream 2 4K, for instance, and I just want to make sure it's really beneficial for the 4K people. But for the Blu-ray people, they can still get said releases and get updated scans and things like that. That's why I'm dropping a few in these. But don't worry, the guy who commented last time is like, hey, do a 4K one. I will. I just want to curate that very well and really make it tailored for the people that are 4K. But I got to talk about this again. Thanks to the people at MVD for sending me Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Awesome movie. You got to check this out. It's very, very different. Bob Clark movie. You know, maker of Black Christmas and Christmas Story. This is his other classic film, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. I love it. This is the new release. For some reason, the covers on these, like, they all have kind of, it looks like they were in the weather a little bit, but it looks like a lot of people's looked like this. I don't know why, but yeah, it's a 50th anniversary release. It comes with the Blu-ray and DVD, the Blu-ray and 4K. It's a really, really nice release. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and it's an amazing film. It's it's a different kind of film. Definitely worth owning. This is a classic. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Gotta grab that. Let's give it up to some werewolf love, but let's do a werewolf film that a lot of people haven't seen. Okay, so we've talked about films like Bad Moon. We've talked about American Werewolf in London. We've talked about The Howling. We've talked about The Howling 2. We've talked about Full Moon High. We've talked about Silver Bullet. But what about a classic from the early 70s that actually has great Peter Cushing in it? How about The Beast Must Die from Severin Films? This is a really cool psychedelic wolf movie. I'm a really big fan of this, The Beast Must Die. It's got this really great early 70s vibe, really great cast, and the movie, you got to figure out who the hell is the wolf. You know, you got to really figure out who the hell it is. And I'm convinced in this movie that, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm convinced that there's more than what you find out at the end of the movie. But it's a really great psychedelic, almost whodunit werewolf movie from Severin. Shout out to Visitor Eye Voices 1 for this. He said, Christian, this is your kind of werewolf movie, and he was right. I really loved it. The Beast Must Die is a great early 70s. I believe it's early 70s. It's got to be early 70s. Yeah, 74. It's a great flick. Definitely pick this one up. This is from Severin Films. One of their better releases, The Beast Must Die. Gotta grab that, guys. Let's go to Scream Factory for a second. I really want to give it up to him. So I watched Inglourious Basterds yesterday because I'm enjoying some Tarantino stuff. I got the Pulp Fiction 4K the other day, which I should have reviewed, but I didn't. But it's one of my favorite 4Ks this year. I want to go, but Eli Roth was in Inglourious Basterds, and I'm such an Eli Roth fan. I want to shout out Green Inferno. Now, this is not as good as Cannibal Holocaust, but it's clearly his homage to that film. But I actually think Green Inferno pushes the boundaries fairly well in today's marketplace, and I think it's a good film. I think Green Inferno is a damn good film, and I think it's probably the best Eli Roth film besides maybe Cabin Fever. I adore Cabin Fever. But I love this movie, and Scream Factory actually did a really good job with their release of it. It's got the CD soundtrack that comes with it. It's got a new interview with Eli Roth. The Blu-ray looks fantastic. It's well worth grabbing this Blu-ray as opposed to just the standard Green Inferno Blu-ray that came out. Really big fan of this film. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you haven't seen Green Inferno, I think it's worth a shot for sure, and I think it's worth a pickup. And I know that I got this well after it was released, and I got the slipcase on Amazon, so that's something to consider if you're wanting the slipcase with this. I got it very late in the game, but yeah, it's a good film. I like it. I don't think it's as good as Cannibal Holocaust, but it's clearly the homage to that. So Green Inferno, definitely give that a shot. I want to shout out Arrow Video. They did a really good slasher release this year with Hell High. Look at that artwork, number one. They did a killer job on that. I wasn't expecting much with Hell High. I didn't know what to expect, and it ended up being a pretty damn good, entertaining slasher film that I enjoyed a lot. And it's kind of creeping up there in my list as one of my favorites. So, yeah, they did a great job with this. You should be able to get the slipcase and everything with this. It should be pretty standard with this release for at least a couple months. It hasn't been out too long, but it does have a brand new 2K restoration. There's actually an audio commentary with Joe Bob Briggs. There's chock full of special features on the back, a lot of stuff. But yeah, a lot of people I know that picked this up, they were like, no, there's something there with this one. And I agree. I don't want to spoil anything about Hell High because I don't think a lot of people have seen this, considering I never even heard of it and when it got released. But it's a good release, so I say grab Hell High. I enjoyed it. Like Girls Night Out was another one that came out. I didn't put that in this list because I think Hell High is much, much better. I'm not saying Girls Night Out was a bad release, but like that came out this year from Arrow as well as Hell High, and I gotta give it up to Hell High. Let's show a little love to Tawny Katane. I was thinking about her this morning. I was listening to some Whitesnake. Rest in peace. I miss Tawny. I wish she was still with us. A little classic called Witchboard. Yeah, kind of like a Ouija style film, but pre-Ouija, obviously, and Tawny Katane stars in this. It's actually a damn good little 80s horror film. And there's actually a Witchboard 2, which I like too, but I have the DVD, I don't have the Blu-ray. But Witchboard's a fun movie. It's actually a pretty fun movie, and it's like two guys tangling over Tawny. Tawny gets herself involved with a Ouija board. She causes her own personal hell when she screws around with said Ouija board. It's a classic 80s little horror flick, Witchboard is, and I really like it. Yeah, so shout out to Tawny Katane. If you don't know who that is, go the Whitesnake video. She's the girl on the Jaguars. A little action horror film, Dark Angel, aka I Come in Peace. Now, guys, listen to me. This is one of those films. This is a perfect double feature with Cyborg. You remember we did a review on Cyborg a few years ago, and I said it's really one of the more brutal action films. The opening scene of Cyborg has a body like crucified. That's the opening shot. Rest in peace, Albert Pune, by the way, great director who did that. Dark Angel is a great film to go along with that. Dolph Lundgren stars in this as a cop fighting this alien guy that comes to planet Earth and raises hell. There's an amazing scene in this film where they're blowing up the cars as the alien is running on the hoods, and as every time he passes a car, the car behind him explodes. Boom, boom, boom. It's a great action film, and it's one of the better Dolph Lundgren films from that era, the late 80s, early 90s. He did some good stuff. Showdown in Little Tokyo's a good one, but in terms of horror stuff, Dark Angel's got it. It's got great sense of humor. It's got some great comedic stuff on the side, but it's pretty intense. It's got a lot of suspense to it, and the villain, the alien thing, is really creepy, and he does some screwed up stuff in this. So yeah, it's for the horror fans. I promise you, Dark Angel. You're gonna want to pick that up. This should be pretty cheap, but it's a great film. I want to shout out Synapse again with this movie, The Kindred. This has been talked about being put out for a long time. You can get a standard release of this, which a lot of controversy. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen, but if you want the Steelbook, it's actually really nice, and it might be a little cheaper now. You get a lot of great stuff with it. It's a 3-discer. They like giving you the soundtrack and all that. But The Kindred is a great creature feature. It's a damn good creature feature. It's one of those lost 80s films for a long time. There was a lot of legal rights and problems with it, but it did come out. I reviewed this release when it came out, but I really wanted to shout it out again because I think it's one of those 80s films that, had it not been buried, it'd have a much bigger fan base by this point. And so, yeah, I really want to shout out The Kindred. Go on. I'll have the affiliate link for the standard release down below. Definitely pick that up. It's a great 80s creature feature with insane special effects. It's really good. I mean, I hate to take away from Synapse, but it's like, oh yeah, Scream Factory would have wanted to do like a collector's edition for this movie because it's classic, like The Blob and things like that. It just got lost with legal problems. All right, I want to shout out Chud. This movie gets a little bit of a bad rap. I'm actually a really big Chud fan. The interesting thing about Chud is the cast. There's so many big stars in this movie before they were really famous. The dad from Home Alone's in this, John Goodman's in this. It's got some really charming stop-motion stuff in here. The film is a little slow. I can meet you halfway, but I actually think it's a fun early 80s, creature feature. And it's got a really good soundtrack. Arrow did a great job at their release for this movie, and I gladly released the artwork for that classic poster because you can't really beat the classic poster for Chud. Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. It's a really fun early 80s cheesy creature feature that I love. I just think it's a really good movie, and it's got like the New Yorkish city vibes, and I'm always into that. So shout out to Chud from Arrow Video. And last, I wanted to talk about the lesser-known Tales from the Crypt movie, Bordello of Blood. This is actually my preferred Tales from the Crypt movie. It seems like 9 out of 10 people usually prefer Demon Knight, I believe is the name of it. But I think Bordello is more my style. You've got a really great cast. You've got Dennis Miller, Erica Eleniak, Angie Everhart. You also got Corey Feldman, but you also got Chris Sarandon in here as the preacher, the crazy preacher. And you've also got some really great like sexy vampire stuff in here. It's got a really great sense of humor. It's got a really great opening with the Crypt Keeper. I think Bordello of Blood is the better one, but I understand that I'm in the minority on that. But I think this one is just as, if not more, entertaining. So this is my preferred Tales from the Crypt movie. I'm not taking anything away from Demon Knight and the impact it had, but yeah, Bordello of Blood has always been mine, and I just wanted to shout this out for this episode because I think it's really good. So there it is, guys. 10 horror Blu-rays I want you to own. Pennywise, The Story of It. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things 4K with the Blu-ray. Grab that. The Beast Must Die, a great werewolf flick. Green Inferno. Hell High from Arrow Video. Witchboard. Dark Angel, The Kindred, Chud, and Bordello of Blood. So that's today's 10 horror Blu-rays I want you to own. Check those out, guys. These are some great releases. Can't put them over enough. All great titles and some great scans and things like that and special features and all those. So there it is, guys. Let me know your thoughts on these and which ones you're enticed. Again, if you have any questions, drop it below. I'll do my best to answer it. If not, chat. If I can't get to it fast enough and you see a question that you know the answer to, please feel free. I'm not, please feel free. Help me out. Answer the question below. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching. Happy Friday. We'll see you guys next time. I want to say thanks to all my amazing Patreon supporters who make Planet CHH possible. For behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and more, you can subscribe for as little as $1 a month.